Some cars turn heads, but these set hearts racing. We're talking 15 Japanese sports car models that gearheads absolutely love. From turbocharged legends to high-revving beasts, let's dive right in. Number 15. Autozam AZ1. At first glance, the Autozam AZ1 looks like a car someone accidentally left in the dryer for too long. It's tiny, quirky, and has doors that open like it's auditioning for a role in a sci-fi movie. But if you laugh at it too soon, this little beast will take a corner at full speed while you're still trying to figure out how to fit inside. Mazda, under its Autozam sub-brand, built this case-size speed demon in the early 90s, and it still turns heads today. Why? Because it looks like a mini supercar. With its mid-engine layout, turbocharged heart, and ultra-lightweight body, the AZ1 is basically a Ferrari F40's baby cousin, except it won't bankrupt you in maintenance costs. Now let's talk about the engine. Underneath that supercar wannabe shell sits a tiny 657 cubic centimeter, 3-cylinder, turbocharged engine from Suzuki, pushing out a groundbreaking 63 horsepower. Yes, you read that right. 63. That's about the same power as a lawnmower on steroids. But before you start making jokes, remember, this thing weighs just 720 kilograms, 1,587 pounds. That's like putting a jet engine on a shoebox. The result? A driving experience that feels way faster than the numbers suggest. Handling? Absolutely unreal. Because it's so small and so light, the AZ1 grips the road like a gecko on a glass window. You can throw it into corners at ridiculous speeds, and it'll just laugh in your face. No understeer, no fuss, just pure go-kart-like fun. But let's be honest, this car is not for everyone. If you're over 6 feet tall, good luck trying to fit inside. The cabin is so small, you might need a shoehorn just to get in and out. And once you're in, there's barely any storage space, so forget about bringing groceries unless you plan on holding them in your lap. Still, for gearheads, this car is pure joy. It's unique, it's rare, only about 4,400 were made, and it's one of the coolest JDM cars no one talks about enough. The AZ1 isn't about big horsepower or crazy top speeds. It's about feeling connected to the road, looking cool in a ridiculous way, and having an absolute blast every time you drive it. So if you ever see one in the wild, don't laugh too hard, because while you're still staring, it's already disappeared around the next corner. Number 14. Subaru SVX. Imagine a car that doesn't shout for attention with huge spoilers and flashy body kits, but instead whispers, "I'm special," every time you drive by. That's the Subaru SVX for you. Produced between 1991 and 1996, this all-wheel drive gem packs a 3.3-liter, 24-valve Boxer 6 engine that churns out 230 horsepower and 228 pound-feet of torque. This powertrain propels the SVX from 0 to 60 miles per hour in approximately 7.3 seconds, with a top speed of 154 miles per hour for early models and 143 miles per hour for later models, 1994 onwards, due to the addition of an electronic speed governor. It might not look like a muscle car at first glance, but once you take it on a winding road, its smooth acceleration and balanced handling reveal its true nature. Designed by the legendary Giorgetto Giugiaro, the SVX features a unique window-within-a-window design that gives it a futuristic yet timeless charm. This distinctive feature not only adds to its aesthetic appeal, but also serves practical purposes, such as reducing wind noise and allowing drivers to open windows without disturbing the car's aerodynamics. It's like that quiet friend who never boasts about their hidden talents until you see them in action. The car's curves and subtle lines make it look refined and understated, a real classic that doesn't need to flash its credentials to win hearts. Under the hood, the SVX is all about balance. The Boxer engine is not only smooth and powerful, but also sits low in the chassis, which helps keep the car stable and fun to drive, even in challenging weather. Thanks to its all-wheel drive system, you can enjoy confident traction, whether you're zipping through dry highways or tackling a rainy day. It's a car that's as comfortable on a sunny day road trip as it is on a slippery backroad adventure. One of the best things about the SVX is how it makes you feel like you're part of an exclusive club. Only about 24,379 of these beauties were made worldwide, with 14,257 sold in the United States. They never quite got the widespread recognition they deserved, partly due to their higher price point compared to other Subaru models at the time. It's as if Subaru decided to create a secret weapon, a car for those who know that true performance isn't just about loud engines and bold looks, but about the joy of driving. Every time you press the pedal, there's a sense of surprise. This quiet, unassuming car is capable of some serious thrills, proving that sometimes less is more. Sure, it might not have the modern gadgets of today's cars, but that's part of its charm. The SVX reminds us of a simpler time when cars were designed to be fun and engaging, with a personality that goes beyond numbers and specs. It's a car that invites conversation, a vehicle with quirks that make it endearing, like its unusual window design that might seem a bit odd at first but soon becomes a signature feature that sets it apart. In short, the Subaru SVX is a hidden treasure from the 90s. A car that quietly defied expectations and still brings joy to those lucky enough to drive it. It's not the loudest or flashiest ride on the road, but it's full of character, heart, and enough fun to keep you smiling every time you hit the accelerator. But hold on to your seats, because next up, we're diving into a car that's even more thrilling and might just steal the SVX's thunder. Stay tuned. Number 13. Toyota Sera. At first glance, the Toyota Sera doesn't look like a sports car in the traditional sense. It's small, cute, and almost toy-like. But don't be fooled. This quirky little coupe is one of Toyota's most fascinating creations, blending futuristic design with a surprisingly fun driving experience. Let's talk about the most obvious feature first, the butterfly-style doors. These aren't your regular car doors. Instead of opening outward like a normal car, they open upward and slightly forward, like a butterfly spreading its wings. It's an absolutely wild design for a compact car from the early 1990s, and it was so ahead of its time that McLaren actually used it as inspiration for the legendary McLaren F1 supercar. Imagine that, a tiny Toyota influencing one of the greatest supercars of all time. But here's the funny part. The doors may look super cool, but they aren't the most practical. If you park in a tight space, you're going to have a hard time getting out. And if you forget to tell your passenger about the unique way they open, be prepared for some confusion and maybe even a few bumps on the head. Now let's get under the hood. The Sera comes with a 1.5-liter inline-4 engine, known as the 5EFHE. It produces 110 horsepower at 6,400 RPM and 97 pound-feet of torque at 5,200 RPM. Now that might not sound like a lot, but remember, this car weighs just around 2,050 pounds, 930 kilograms. So it's surprisingly peppy. It has a top speed of approximately 121 miles per hour and can accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in about 11.3 seconds. Sure, it won't be outrunning a Supra anytime soon, but for a compact, fuel-efficient sports car, it's more than enough to keep things fun. The Sera was offered with both a 4-speed automatic and a 5-speed manual transmission. If you want to get the most out of this little machine, the manual is definitely the way to go. It gives you better control and makes the driving experience way more engaging. The Toyota Sera isn't just about funky doors and decent performance. It's also got one of the coolest interiors you'll ever see. The entire roof is made of glass, creating a panoramic canopy effect. It makes the cabin feel incredibly open and airy, like you're driving a spaceship. But there's a downside. On a hot summer day, that glass roof turns the Sera into a rolling greenhouse. If you're not careful, you might roast like a Thanksgiving turkey inside. Thankfully, Toyota thought about this and equipped the car with air conditioning as standard. Still, if you ever see a Sera parked outside with reflective sunshades covering every inch of the roof, now you know why. Toyota really went all out with the Sera's features. One of the coolest options was the Super Live Sound System, SLSS. This wasn't just any stereo, it had 10 strategically placed speakers, including ones that rotated when you adjusted the sound settings. It was basically a nightclub on wheels, and for the early 90s, this was mind-blowing tech. The Toyota Sera was only sold in Japan, but that didn't stop car enthusiasts around the world from falling in love with it. Over the years, many of them have been imported to different countries, and they always turn heads wherever they go. It's not the fastest car, and it's definitely not the most powerful, but it's got something special: character. With only about 15,000 units ever made, finding one today isn't easy. But if you do, you'll be getting one of the most unique, fun, and downright charming cars Toyota has ever built. So what's next on our list? Let's just say, if you thought butterfly doors were cool, wait until you see what this next car has to offer. Number 12, Mitsubishi FTO. The Mitsubishi FTO is one of those cars that makes JDM fans shake their fists at the sky and yell, "Why didn't we get this in the US?" Built between 1994 and 2000, this lightweight sports coupe was everything you'd want in a fun, driver-focused machine. Sleek looks, sharp handling, and a punchy engine. But for some reason, Mitsubishi kept it out of the American market, making it one of the most desirable forbidden fruits in the car world. The FTO wasn't Mitsubishi's first attempt at a compact sports coupe. It actually takes its name from the gallant coupe FTO of the 1970s. FTO stands for Fresco Turismo Homologato, which is a fancy way of saying Fresh Grand Touring Homologation. Basically, Mitsubishi wanted to make something sporty and stylish while keeping it practical enough for everyday driving. The result? A front-wheel drive coupe that looked aggressive yet elegant, and it still turns heads today. One of the best things about the FTO is its weight, or lack of it. At just 2,500 pounds, around 1,150 kilograms, it's a featherweight compared to most sports cars. This low weight, combined with a well-balanced chassis, made it a blast to throw into corners. And let's talk about what's under the hood. The FTO came with a few engine options, but the star of the show was the 2-liter MIVEC V6. MIVEC, Mitsubishi Innovative Valve Timing Electronic Control, was Mitsubishi's version of VTEC, and it allowed the engine to adjust timing for more power at high RPMs. The result? A rev-happy little powerhouse that made 168 horsepower and 137 pound-feet of torque. For a lightweight coupe, this was plenty of power. The FTO could hit 0 to 60 miles per hour in around 7.3 seconds and had a top speed of about 137 miles per hour. Not bad for a front-wheel drive sports car from the 90s. Most FTOs came with either a 5-speed manual or a 4-speed automatic. But Mitsubishi also introduced an interesting option, an Invex 2 automatic transmission with a Tiptronic-style manual mode. This was way ahead of its time in the mid-90s. You could shift gears manually without a clutch, making it feel sportier than a regular automatic. Of course, real enthusiasts will tell you the proper way to drive an FTO is with a manual transmission. After all, what's the point of having a high-revving V6 if you're not the one controlling the shifts? With its lightweight, sharp steering, and well-balanced chassis, the FTO was built for twisty roads. The front-wheel drive layout might make purists scoff, but Mitsubishi knew what they were doing. The car had a low center of gravity, a stiff suspension setup, and just the right amount of grip to make it incredibly fun to drive. Some versions even came with a limited slip differential, which helped put power down more effectively when cornering. Add in the MIVEC engines screaming at high RPMs, and you've got yourself an underrated JDM icon. The FTO's looks are another reason why it remains a cult favorite. With its smooth curves, aggressive headlights, and wide stance, it still looks like a proper sports car even today. The GPX and GP version R models came with sportier bumpers, a rear spoiler, and more aggressive styling touches, making them even more desirable. And let's not forget the interior. It was classic 90s Mitsubishi, meaning simple, driver-focused, and surprisingly comfortable. The cockpit-style dashboard wrapped around the driver, and the seats were designed to keep you planted during spirited drives. Since the FTO was never officially sold in the US, finding one today can be a challenge. Importing rules mean that only the earliest models are legal for American roads. But in places like the UK, Australia, and Japan, it still has a loyal following. And honestly, it deserves more recognition. The Mitsubishi FTO was an innovative, well-designed sports coupe that offered great handling, an advanced V6 engine, and a unique transmission option. It may not be as famous as some of its JDM rivals, but for those who know, it's a hidden gem. Now, if you thought this was underrated, wait until you see the next car on our list. It's got more power, more attitude, and a reputation that still echoes in car culture today. Number 11. Mazda Lantis Type R. Some cars don't need to scream for attention, they just let their performance do the talking. The Mazda Lantis Type R is one of those cars. While it may not be as famous as some of its Japanese siblings, real gearheads know this machine is an underrated gem. It's quick, nimble, and delivers a driving experience that feels raw and connected. But what really makes this car special? Let's dive into it. Under the hood, the Mazda Lantis Type R packs a 1.8-liter DOHC V6 engine, a rare configuration for a car of its size. Producing around 170 horsepower and 130 pound-feet of torque, this engine is all about high-revving excitement. The Lantis Type R was built to be driven hard, and when you push it past 6,000 RPM, you can feel the power surge kicking in. Paired with a 5-speed manual transmission, it offers a level of engagement that modern automatic cars simply can't match. Performance-wise, this lightweight beast can hit a top speed of around 140 miles per hour. That might not sound extreme compared to today's supercars, but for a naturally aspirated 1.8-liter engine, it's more than impressive. The Lantis Type R also boasts a 0 to 60 miles per hour time of approximately 6.8 seconds, making it faster than many of its competitors from the 90s. The real magic, however, is in its handling: sharp, precise, and incredibly responsive. Thanks to Mazda's superb chassis tuning and a low curb weight, the Lantis Type R carves corners with ease. Step inside and you'll find an interior that's all about the driving experience. It's not luxurious, but it's exactly what you'd expect from a JDM sports car. Simple, functional, and built for performance. The sports seats are firm and supportive, designed to keep you in place during aggressive cornering. The dashboard layout is clean, with easy-to-read gauges that remind you this car was made for drivers who love being behind the wheel. No excessive tech, no unnecessary distractions, just pure driving pleasure. On the outside, the Lantis Type R has a sleek yet aggressive look that has aged remarkably well. The aerodynamics are subtle but effective, with smooth lines that hint at its speed and agility. A factory rear spoiler adds a sporty touch without going over the top. And let's not forget the unique 4-door coupe design. Yes, this sports car has 4 doors, making it a practical speed demon. It's one of those cars that you don't see often, but when you do, it immediately stands out. When it first hit the market, the Mazda Lantis Type R was priced around $25,000, making it an affordable alternative to more expensive performance cars. Today, it's become a sought-after collector's item, with well-maintained examples fetching significantly higher prices in the used JDM market. Its rarity and performance make it a car that enthusiasts love to own and modify, adding even more power and style to an already impressive package. But what really makes this car a beast? It's the way it drives. It doesn't just get you from point A to point B, it makes you feel every shift, every rev, and every curve in the road. It's a reminder of what driving used to be before everything became automated. The lightweight body, responsive steering, and high-revving engine create an experience that modern cars just can't replicate. Whether you're tearing through mountain roads or simply taking it for a spin around town, the Lantis Type R makes every drive an event. And if you think this one's impressive, just wait until you see what's coming next. The next car on the list is even more insane. Faster, more aggressive, and a true icon in the world of JDM performance. Number 10. Mitsubishi Starion. Some cars are legends, while others are hidden gems waiting to be rediscovered. The Mitsubishi Starion is both. A turbocharged, rear-wheel drive beast from the 80s, this car was Mitsubishi's answer to the rising dominance of Japanese sports cars. It had the looks, the power, and the handling to take on the likes of the Toyota Supra and Nissan 300ZX. And yet somehow, the Starion remains one of the most underrated JDM performance machines of its era. Pop the hood and you'll find a 2.6-liter turbocharged inline-4 engine, an absolute powerhouse for its time. In its top trim, the Starion pumped out 197 horsepower and 223 pound-feet of torque, numbers that made it a serious contender against some of the biggest names in the sports car world. Paired with a 5-speed manual transmission, the Starion was built for drivers who wanted to feel every shift, every boost of the turbo, and every ounce of power under their control. Now let's talk about speed. The Mitsubishi Starion could hit a top speed of around 140 miles per hour, making it one of the faster Japanese sports cars of its era. And when it came to acceleration, this car could rocket from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 6.6 seconds. That's seriously quick for a 1980s turbo coupe. But what really made it special was the way it delivered that power. The turbocharger kicked in with a satisfying surge, pushing you back in your seat as you climbed through the gears. It wasn't just fast, it was thrilling. Step inside and you're instantly transported to the peak of 1980s automotive design. The Starion's cockpit was futuristic for its time, featuring a wraparound dashboard that made you feel like you were in a jet fighter. The analog gauges, deep bucket seats, and driver-focused controls gave it a pure performance feel. This wasn't a car built for luxury, it was built for speed. Even the steering wheel and gear shifter were designed to give drivers a more connected experience, making sure every turn and shift felt just right. On the outside, the Starion was pure aggression. Its boxy, wide-body design gave it an unmistakable presence on the road. The flared wheel arches, pop-up headlights, and sharp body lines made it look like something straight out of a racing video game. And let's not forget those factory-wide fenders that scream performance. It wasn't just about looking cool. The Starion's aerodynamics played a crucial role in keeping it stable at high speeds. Mitsubishi made sure that form met function in the best way possible. One of the best things about the Starion was that it delivered high performance at a reasonable price. When it first hit dealerships, it cost around $16,000, making it an affordable alternative to cars like the Nissan 300ZX and Mazda RX-7. Today, finding one in good condition can be a challenge. But when you do, expect to pay anywhere from $15,000 to $30,000, depending on modifications and mileage. Enthusiasts love this car not only for its raw driving experience, but also because it's an excellent platform for tuning. With a few upgrades, the Starion can easily push over 300 horsepower, turning it into an absolute monster on the road. But what truly makes the Mitsubishi Starion a beast is its rear-wheel drive layout and perfectly balanced handling. This car wasn't just about straight-line speed, it was a corner-carving machine. The steering was precise, the suspension was tuned for performance, and the wide stance kept it planted even during aggressive driving. Whether you were drifting through tight turns or gunning it down a highway, the Starion made sure you felt every bit of the road. Still, as incredible as the Starion is, the next car on our list takes things to an entirely new level. Think turbocharged insanity, lightweight design, and a driving experience that will leave you breathless. If you thought this was impressive, just wait until you see what's next. Number 9. Nissan Autech Zagato Stelvio AG1. Now, here's a car that breaks every rule of what a sports car should be. And that's exactly what makes it legendary. The Nissan Autech Zagato Stelvio AZ1 is a rare, bizarre, and incredibly unique machine that only true JDM enthusiasts appreciate. It's a mix of Italian coach building and Japanese engineering, wrapped up in one of the most eye-catching designs ever put on four wheels. It's weird, it's powerful, and it's a piece of automotive history that gearheads absolutely love. Let's start with what's under the hood. The Stelvio AZ1 is powered by a 3.0-liter VG30D-ET turbocharged V6 engine, the same engine that powered some of Nissan's greatest performance cars of the era. It produces around 276 horsepower and 271 pound-feet of torque. Serious numbers for the late 1980s. With a 4-speed automatic transmission, the AZ1 wasn't exactly a hardcore track machine, but it delivered power smoothly and effortlessly, making it a high-speed cruiser with a punch. When it came to performance, this car was no joke. The Stelvio AZ1 could hit 0 to 60 miles per hour in just under 6 seconds and had a top speed of around 155 miles per hour. But what made it feel even faster was its lightweight aluminum bodywork. which kept the car nimble despite all its luxury features. And let's not forget the aerodynamics. Zagato designed this car with sharp angles, bulging wheel arches, and dramatic lines that made it look like something straight out of a futuristic cyberpunk movie. The interior, pure luxury, with an Italian touch. The Stelvio AZ featured hand-stitched leather seats, a digital dashboard, and a driver-focused cockpit that made it feel like a grand tourer rather than an all-out sports car. Every detail inside screamed exclusivity, from the unique steering wheel to the premium materials covering almost every surface. Nissan's Autech division wasn't just making a fast car, they were crafting a statement piece. Now let's talk about the exterior, because let's be honest, that's what makes this car so unforgettable. The Stelvio AZ1's body was designed by the legendary Italian coach builder, Zagato, and they went all out with a design that can only be described as eccentric. It had bubble-shaped headlights, pop-up driving lamps, and flared wheel arches that looked almost alien. Then there were these signature Zagato double-bubble roof humps, designed for extra headroom while adding an aggressive racing style. Love it or hate it, you couldn't ignore it. As for pricing, this was an ultra-exclusive car with only about 104 ever built. When it was new, it was priced at around $100,000, an outrageous sum for the late 80s. Today, if you're lucky enough to find one for sale, be prepared to pay anywhere from $80,000 to $150,000, depending on condition. Its rarity alone makes it a dream for collectors, and since it was hand-built, every example is slightly unique. But what really makes the Nissan Autech Zagato Stelvio AZ1 a beast is how it blends luxury and power in a way no other JDM car ever did. It was bold, it was fast, and it had a design that refused to conform to the norms of sports cars. This car wasn't built for mass appeal. It was built for those who wanted something truly special, something different from the usual supercar lineup. And in that sense, the AZ1 is a masterpiece. But as wild as the Stelvio AZ1 is, the next car on our list takes things in a completely different direction. Think lightweight, high revving, and track ready. If you thought this was impressive, just wait until you see what's coming next. Number 8. Nissan Pulsar GTi-R. If you think all hatchbacks are just economy cars built for grocery runs, then you've clearly never seen the Nissan Pulsar GTi-R. This was no ordinary hatchback. This was Nissan's answer to the rally-bred monsters of the early 90s. A turbocharged all-wheel drive rocket that could humble sports cars twice its size. Dubbed the Baby Godzilla because of its connection to the legendary Skyline GT-R, the Pulsar GTi-R was small, aggressive, and packed with raw performance. Under the hood, Nissan stuffed a 2-liter SR 20DET turbocharged inline-4 engine, a power plant famous for its strength and tuning potential. In factory form, this little beast churned out 227 horsepower and 210 pound-feet of torque, making it one of the most powerful hot hatches of its time. Paired with a 5-speed manual transmission, the Pulsar GTi-R delivered razor-sharp acceleration, launching from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 5.4 seconds, faster than a Ferrari Mondial from the same era. Top speed? Around 144 miles per hour, which was insane for a lightweight, rally-inspired hatchback. But the real magic was in its drivetrain. The Pulsar GTi-R featured Nissan's Atessa all-wheel drive system, similar to the one found in the Skyline GT-R. This meant it had incredible grip, allowing it to dominate tight corners and rough terrain with ease. Add in a limited slip differential, stiff, rally-tuned suspension, and a near-perfect weight balance, and you had a car that felt more like a World Rally Championship WRC contender than a simple commuter car. Step inside and the Pulsar GTi-R's cabin was all business. No fancy luxury touches, no overcomplicated gadgets, just a driver-focused setup designed for one thing: speed. The bucket seats held you in place during hard cornering, the short throw shifter begged to be slammed into gear, and the deep-set analog gauges made sure you always knew what your turbocharged monster was up to. It was pure, unfiltered JDM performance wrapped in a no-nonsense package. On the outside, the GTi-R looked like a rally car that somehow made its way onto public roads. The most iconic feature? That massive hood scoop designed to feed air into the top-mounted intercooler, a setup commonly found on high-performance rally cars. Then there was the aggressive stance, the wide fenders, and the rear spoiler that screamed, "I belong on a dirt track." Unlike other Pulsar models, the GTi-R had a much more muscular and aggressive design, making it instantly recognizable to anyone who knew what they were looking at. When it was released in the early 90s, the Pulsar GTi-R cost around $20,000, making it a budget-friendly alternative to cars like the Subaru WRX and Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution. Today, this rally-bred beast has become a collector's item, with prices ranging from $15,000 for high-mileage examples to over $40,000 for well-preserved, low-mileage versions. And since it shares its SR20 DET engine with the Nissan Stelvio, tuning potential is through the roof. With some modifications, these cars can easily push 400-plus horsepower, turning an already fast hatchback into an absolute monster. What makes the Nissan Pulsar GTi-R such a beast is its combination of lightweight design, turbocharged power, and all-wheel drive grip. It's the kind of car that begs to be driven hard, whether you're attacking a winding mountain road, tearing up a rally stage, or embarrassing larger sports cars at a stoplight. This was Nissan proving that size doesn't matter. It's all about performance. But if you thought this AWD turbo hatch was insane, the next car on our list cranks the madness up even further. We're talking about a machine with even more rally pedigree, even wilder performance, and a cult following that refuses to fade. Stay tuned, because this next one is going to blow your mind. Number 7, Nissan 370Z. If there's one car that embodies the spirit of the classic Japanese sports coupe, it's the Nissan 370Z, the successor to the legendary 350G. This car took everything great about the Z lineage: raw power, aggressive styling, and a connection to the road that's hard to find in modern cars, and cranked it up a notch. It may not have been the most high-tech or turbocharged machine of its time, but for gearheads who love naturally aspirated power and rear-wheel drive fun, the 370Z is pure perfection. At the heart of the 370Z is Nissan's tried-and-true 3.7-liter Q37 VHR V6 engine, producing a healthy 332 horsepower and 270 pound-feet of torque. This naturally aspirated beast delivers smooth, linear power that responds instantly to your right foot. If you opt for the Nismo version, you get an upgraded 350 horsepower and 276 pound-feet of torque, making an already quick car even sharper. Paired with either a 6-speed manual transmission, with the world's first synchro-rev match system for perfect downshifts, or a 7-speed automatic with paddle shifters, the Nissan 370Z can blast from 0 to 60 miles per hour in about 5 seconds. And with a top speed of around 155 miles per hour, this car has no trouble keeping up with modern muscle. But the magic of the 370Z isn't just in the numbers, it's in the way it feels to drive. With a front-engine, rear-wheel drive layout, a short wheelbase, and a near-perfect 55-45 weight distribution, the 370Z is a driver's car through and through. The suspension is tight, the steering is direct, and the chassis feels alive beneath you. Whether you're attacking a canyon road, sliding around a track, or just carving up city streets, this car delivers an experience that's hard to match. Step inside, and the 370Z's interior is all about the driver. The cockpit is snug, with deeply bolstered seats that hold you in place during aggressive driving. The center console is angled toward the driver, and the 3 traditional Z-car gauges on the dashboard, oil temperature, voltage, and a clock, give it that classic sports car feel. Materials are a mix of soft-touch plastics, aluminum trim, and leather accents, especially in the higher trims. And while it may not be the most luxurious cabin, it's functional, focused, and built for spirited driving. On the outside, the 370Z looks like a proper sports car, low, wide, and aggressive. The long hood, short rear deck, and muscular fenders give it a stance that screams performance. The headlights and taillights feature a boomerang design that adds to the modern look, while the large dual exhaust tips hint at the car's deep, throaty V6 growl. If you go for the Nismo version, you get an even more aggressive body kit, a rear wing, and lightweight forged wheels that make the car look track-ready right out of the box. One of the best things about the 370Z is its price. When new, it started at around $30,000, making it one of the most affordable rear-wheel drive sports cars on the market. Today, used models can be found for as little as $15,000, while well-kept Nismo versions can fetch upwards of $40,000. And with a massive aftermarket scene, it's easy to modify this car into a true track weapon or a head-turning street machine. What makes the Nissan 370G a beast is its simplicity. No turbos, no complex hybrid systems, just a naturally aspirated V6, a manual gearbox, and a chassis that begs to be pushed hard. It's a throwback to the golden age of Japanese sports cars, built for people who love driving for the sake of driving. But if you think the 370Z is impressive, wait until you see what's next. The next car on our list is lighter, faster, and has a racing pedigree that puts it in a league of its own. Stay tuned, because things are about to get even wilder. Number 6. Datsun 510. Before Nissan became a global powerhouse in the sports car world, there was Datsun, a brand that built some of the most legendary cars in Japan's history. And if there's one car that cemented Datsun's reputation among enthusiasts, it's the iconic Datsun 510. This little boxy sedan wasn't just an affordable economy car. It was Japan's answer to the BMW 2002, a lightweight, rear-wheel drive performer that took the racing world by storm. If you love underdog stories, this one's for you. Under the hood, the Datsun 510 was powered by a 1.6-liter LE16 inline-4 engine. With a single overhead cam and a simple carbureted setup, it made a modest 96 horsepower and 100 pound-feet of torque. But don't let those numbers fool you. This car weighed just over 2,000 pounds, making it incredibly nimble. The 510's lightweight chassis, fully independent suspension, and balanced design meant it could carve through corners like a dream. The 0 to 60 miles per hour time? Around 10 seconds. Nothing mind-blowing, but respectable for the era. Top speed was about 100 miles per hour, but what made the 510 a legend wasn't straight-line speed. It was how effortlessly it handled. And if you wanted more power, the 510 was a dream for tuners. Thanks to its compatibility with Nissan's larger L-Series engines, many enthusiasts swapped in the more powerful L18 or L20B motors, instantly turning the 510 into a giant killer. And today, you'll find 500s rocking everything from turbocharged SR20 DET engines to RB25 swaps, making them serious performance machines. Inside, the 510's cabin was simple and functional. No fancy materials, no unnecessary gadgets, just a straightforward dashboard with easy-to-read gauges, comfortable bucket seats, and a well-placed shifter. It was pure, no-frills driving, but for the time, it was actually well-equipped, featuring things like wood-trimmed accents, a stylish steering wheel, and solid build quality. On the outside, the Datsun 510 had a classic, boxy design that gave it an aggressive stance, especially when lowered. The sharp lines, round headlights, and chrome trim gave it that vintage JDM look that still turns heads today. And if you got the two-door coupe version, it looked even sportier. The racing versions, especially those from BRE, Brock Racing Enterprises, came with bold livery, flared fenders, and lightweight wheels that made them look like they belonged on a track, which they absolutely did. Speaking of racing, the Datsun 510's biggest claim to fame was its domination in motorsports. In the early 1970s, the BRE Datsun 510, led by legendary racer and team owner Peter Brock, crushed the competition in the SCCA Trans Am series. It took down cars like the Alfa Romeo GTV and the BMW 2002, proving that a small Japanese sedan could run with the best of Europe. This racing success cemented the 510's legacy and made it a cult classic among gearheads. When new, the 510 was ridiculously affordable, just around $2,000 in the early 70s. Today, well-preserved stock models can go for $25,000 or more, while fully built race-ready versions can push past $50,000. And because it's one of the most beloved JDM classics, finding parts and support for restoration is easier than you'd think. What makes the Datsun 510 so special? It's the ultimate sleeper, a simple economy car that turned into a motorsport legend. It's lightweight, easy to modify, and ridiculously fun to drive. It may not have had crazy horsepower or a supercar badge, but it had something even better: heart. And that's why gearheads absolutely love it. But if you thought the 510 was an underdog story, wait until you see the next car on our list. The next one took Japanese engineering to the next level, with groundbreaking technology that was way ahead of its time. Trust me, you don't want to miss this one. Number 5. Infiniti G37. If you're looking for a Japanese sports car that blends performance, luxury, and everyday usability, the Infiniti G37 is a dream come true. It might not have the same raw, in-your-face attitude as a Nissan GT-R or a Toyota Supra, but make no mistake, this car is an absolute beast in disguise. Built as Nissan's answer to BMW's 3 Series and Audi's A5, the G37 delivers serious performance wrapped in a sleek, comfortable package. At the heart of the G37 is Nissan's legendary 3.7-liter VQ37 VHR V6 engine. It pumps out a healthy 330 horsepower and 270 pound-feet of torque, sending power to the rear wheels, or all 4 if you opt for the AWD version. Paired with either a 7-speed automatic or a 6-speed manual, this car launches from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 5 seconds. Seriously quick for a luxury coupe. And with a top speed of around 155 miles per hour, it has no problem hanging with European sports cars that cost twice as much. But the G37 isn't just about straight-line speed, it's about balance. The chassis is tuned to deliver sharp handling with a near-perfect weight distribution and a suspension setup that keeps it glued to the road. The steering is precise, the brakes are strong, and the car feels incredibly stable even when pushed to its limits. Whether you're carving through mountain roads or cruising on the highway, the G37 delivers a driving experience that's both thrilling and refined. Step inside and you'll find an interior that's a cut above the typical Japanese sports car. The cabin is driver-focused with premium materials, leather-wrapped seats, and a sleek dashboard design. The center console features Infiniti's intuitive infotainment system, complete with navigation, Bluetooth, and a premium Bose audio system. The seats are supportive yet comfortable, making this a car you can drive hard without sacrificing comfort on long trips. And thanks to the coupe's spacious design, you actually get a decent-sized trunk, something that can't be said for a lot of sports cars. On the outside, the G37 is pure class with a touch of aggression. The long, sculpted hood, bold grille, and curvaceous body lines give it a muscular, yet refined appearance. The dual exhaust tips at the rear hint at the car's performance capabilities, while the available sport package adds larger wheels, an aerodynamic body kit, and a more aggressive stance. It's the perfect blend of elegance and attitude. One of the best things about the G37 is its value. When new, it was priced around $35,000 to $40,000, significantly less than its German rivals. But today, you can find well-maintained used models for as little as $12,000 to $20,000, making it one of the best performance bargains on the market. And because it's powered by Nissan's bulletproof VQ engine, reliability is strong, with many examples easily surpassing 200,000 miles with proper maintenance. What makes the Infiniti G37 so special? It's a car that gives you the best of both worlds: power and precision, style and comfort. It's fast enough to keep up with serious sports cars, but refined enough to be driven daily. It's a sleeper, a luxury coupe with the heart of a street racer, and that's why gearheads absolutely love it. But if you thought the G37 was impressive, wait until you see what's next. The next car on our list is a true legend, an absolute icon of the Japanese sports car world. It has the speed, the style, and a name that commands respect. Stay tuned, because things are about to get serious. Number 4. Mazda MX-5 Miata. If there's one car that proves you don't need a huge engine or crazy horsepower to have fun, it's the Mazda MX-5 Miata. This small roadster is all about pure driving joy, light, balanced, and guaranteed to make you smile every time you get behind the wheel. It's not just one of Japan's best sports cars, it's one of the best sports cars ever made, period. Now let's talk numbers. The Miata isn't about raw power, and that's the point. The latest ND generation MX-5 comes with a 2.0-liter Skyactiv G engine that makes 181 horsepower and 151 pound-feet of torque. Older versions, like the NA and NB models, had smaller 1.6 or 1.8-liter engines with less power, but they made up for it with agility. Weighing around 2,300 pounds, the Miata doesn't need big horsepower to feel quick. It can go from 0 to 60 miles per hour in about 5.7 seconds in the ND model, while older versions take closer to 8 seconds. But trust me, once you're behind the wheel, those numbers won't even matter. The real magic of the Miata is its handling. It was designed with the Japanese philosophy of Jinbai Tai, which means horse and rider as one. Everything about this car makes you feel connected to the road. The steering is sharp, the suspension is built for cornering, and with perfect 50-50 weight balance, it stays stable through every turn. Whether you're carving up a mountain road or just cruising around town with the top down, the Miata delivers a driving experience like no other. Inside, the Miata is all about simplicity. It doesn't have a ton of fancy features, just a clean, driver-focused interior. The seats are low and snug, the shifter is short and precise, and everything is exactly where you need it. Newer models do come with modern touches like a touchscreen, Bluetooth, and heated seats. But at its core, the Miata's cabin is designed to keep you focused on driving. On the outside, the Miata has always had a fun and sporty look. The first-generation NA model, with its pop-up headlights, is a true classic, while the latest ND version looks sharper and more aggressive. Whether you choose the soft-top convertible or the RF, retractable fastback model, the Miata has a design that turns heads. It may be small, but it has big personality. One of the best things about the Miata, it's affordable. A brand new base model starts at around $28,000, which is a bargain for a car this fun. And if you're looking for a used one, older NA and NB models can be found for as little as $5,000 to $10,000. Plus, it's one of the most reliable sports cars ever made, so maintenance costs are low. If you love modifying cars, the Miata is perfect. It has one of the biggest aftermarket communities in the world. Whether you want to add a turbo, swap the engine, or turn it into a track car, there's a Miata build for every enthusiast. What makes the Miata special isn't just its performance, affordability, or classic roadster looks. It's the way it makes you feel behind the wheel. No matter which generation you choose, the Miata is built for pure driving enjoyment. It's the kind of car that reminds you why you fell in love with driving in the first place. But if you think the Miata is fun, wait until you see what's next. The next car on our list is an absolute legend, a Japanese sports car that changed the game. Stay tuned. This one is on another level. Number 3, Nissan GT-R. When you hear the name Nissan GT-R, one word comes to mind: Godzilla. This is not just a car. It's a high-tech monster that has dominated streets and racetracks for decades. The GT-R is the pinnacle of Japanese performance, blending cutting-edge technology, brutal power, and razor-sharp handling into a package that has left supercars shaking in fear. At the heart of the modern R35 GT-R is a 3.8-liter twin-turbocharged V6, known as the VR38DETT. This hand-built masterpiece cranks out 565 horsepower and 467 pound-feet of torque. With even more power in the Nismo version, 600 horsepower and 481 pound-feet. The GT-R sends all this fury to all four wheels through Nissan's legendary Atisa ETS all-wheel drive system, launching it from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 2.9 seconds. That's right. This Japanese beast accelerates faster than most Ferraris and Lamborghinis. With a top speed of around 205 miles per hour, the GT-R is no joke. But the real magic isn't just in the numbers, it's how this car handles. The GT-R is engineered to grip the road like no other, thanks to its torque vectoring system, advanced aerodynamics, and a chassis tuned to perfection. The car feels like it defies physics, delivering supercar-level performance at a fraction of the price. Whether you're carving through mountain roads, dominating a racetrack, or embarrassing exotics at a stoplight, the GT-R makes you feel invincible. Step inside and you'll find a cockpit built for performance. The seats are race-inspired, holding you in place as you unleash the car's full potential. The center console features a performance telemetry system designed by Polyphony Digital, the same team behind Gran Turismo. You can monitor everything from G-forces to lap times, making the GT-R feel like a video game car come to life. While newer models offer a bit more luxury, including leather-trimmed interiors and an updated infotainment system, the GT-R is first and foremost a driver's machine. The exterior design, aggressive, bold, and unmistakable. The GT-R's wide stance, sharp lines, and signature quad taillights make it instantly recognizable. Every vent, every curve serves a purpose, maximizing aerodynamics, cooling, and downforce. Over the years, the R35 has evolved with subtle refinements, but the essence remains the same, a car built to intimidate. Now let's talk pricing. When it first launched in 2007, the R35 GT-R was a budget supercar killer, starting around $70,000. But as the years went on and technology improved, the price climbed. Today, a brand new GT-R starts at around $120,000, with the track-focused Nismo version crossing the $210,000 mark. But even at that price, it's still one of the most affordable ways to get supercar performance. And if you're looking at used models, early R35s can be found for $50,000 to $70,000, making it a serious bargain for what it offers. So why do gearheads love the GT-R? Because it's the ultimate underdog story. From its humble beginnings in the 1960s to its reign as the king of Japanese performance cars, the GT-R has always been a giant killer. And it takes on the best of Ferrari, Porsche, and McLaren, and wins. It's a car that blends brutal power with cutting-edge tech, giving drivers an experience that's nothing short of mind-blowing. But we're not done yet. If you thought the GT-R was insane, just wait until you see what's next. Number 2, Acura NSX. If there's one car that changed the way the world looked at Japanese performance, it's the Acura NSX. This wasn't just a sports car. It was Japan's answer to Ferrari, a machine so well engineered that it forced the Italian automaker to rethink how it built its cars. And the craziest part? Honda did it with a V6. The original first-generation NSX, launched in 1990, was powered by a 3-liter VTEC V6, later upgraded to a 3.2-liter in 1997, that made 270 horsepower and 210 pound-feet of torque. That might not sound like much today, but back then, this was a serious performance machine. Thanks to its lightweight aluminum body, mid-engine layout, and Formula One-inspired engineering, the NSX could sprint from 0 to 60 miles per hour in around 5.5 seconds and hit a top speed of 168 miles per hour. But what really made the NSX special wasn't just its numbers, it was how perfectly balanced it felt on the road. And if that wasn't enough, Ayrton Senna himself, yes, the legendary Formula One driver, helped fine-tune the NSX's handling. Honda tested the car at the Nürburgring, where Senna suggested making the chassis even stiffer. The result? A car that handled like a dream, with razor-sharp steering, a low seating position, and an unreal connection between driver and machine. Inside, the NSX was a revelation. Unlike the cramped, uncomfortable supercars of the time, Honda gave the NSX a comfortable, ergonomic interior that was actually usable for daily driving. The seats were supportive but not overly aggressive. Visibility was fantastic thanks to the car's large glass canopy, and the dashboard was designed with simplicity and function in mind. This was a car you could drive on the track and then take on a road trip without a second thought. And then came the second-generation NSX in 2016. After years of rumors and speculation, Honda brought back its legendary nameplate. But this time, they rewrote the rulebook. The modern NSX ditched the naturally aspirated V6 in favor of a 3.5-liter, twin-turbocharged V6 paired with 3 electric motors, producing a combined 573 horsepower and 476 pound-feet of torque. This high-tech hybrid powertrain, combined with super handling all-wheel drive, SHAWD, and a 9-speed dual-clutch transmission, launched the NSX from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 2.9 seconds, putting it in the same league as Ferraris and McLarens. Visually, the new NSX looks every bit the modern supercar. Sharp lines, aggressive aerodynamics, and a low-slung stance make it clear that this isn't just another fast car. It's something special. And while some purists argue that the hybrid tech takes away from the raw experience of the original NSX, there's no denying that the new NSX is an absolute beast on both the road and the track. Now let's talk pricing. The first-gen NSX was a bargain supercar, originally selling for around $60,000 to $80,000. But today, pristine models can fetch over $150,000. The second-gen NSX, on the other hand, had a much higher starting price, around $157,000, which may have contributed to its slower sales. However, now that production has ended, expect these cars to become even more desirable in the coming years. So why do gearheads love the NSX? Because it's the car that changed the game. It proved that supercars didn't have to be fragile, unreliable, or difficult to drive. It brought Japanese precision and reliability to a segment dominated by European exotics. And most importantly, it gave the world a car that could take on Ferrari and win. But if you thought the NSX was legendary, just wait until you see number 1 on our list. This next car is the most famous Japanese sports car of all time. Number 1. Lexus LC. And here it is, the ultimate blend of Japanese engineering, luxury, and high-performance thrills. The Lexus LC. This isn't just a sports car, it's a grand tourer that redefines what a high-end Japanese performance machine can be. With breathtaking design, a naturally aspirated V8, and Lexus-level refinement, the LC is the perfect mix of power, style, and craftsmanship. Let's start with what makes this car such a head-turner: the design. The LC looks like something straight out of a concept car show. It's low, wide, and sculpted to perfection. The aggressive spindle grille, sharp LED headlights, and flowing body lines make it one of the most striking coupes on the road. The long hood and short rear deck give it the classic proportions of a proper GT car, while the futuristic taillights add a modern touch. And the best part? It looks even better in motion. But the LC isn't just about looking good, it's about delivering a true driving experience. Under the hood, the LC 500 is powered by a 5-liter naturally aspirated V8, producing 471 horsepower and 398 pound-feet of torque. This beast of an engine is paired with a 10-speed automatic transmission, sending power to the rear wheels. The result? A 0 to 60 miles per hour time of 4.4 seconds and a top speed of 168 miles per hour. And because it's naturally aspirated, there's no turbo lag, just an instant linear power delivery that makes it feel alive every time you press the throttle. The sound of this car is something else entirely. Unlike turbocharged competitors that rely on artificial pops and crackles, the LC 500's V8 screams like a proper muscle car. Deep, aggressive, and completely unfiltered. Lexus even tuned the exhaust note using acoustic engineering, making sure the roar of the engine is just as intoxicating inside the cabin as it is outside. If you prefer something a little different, there's also the LC 500H, a hybrid version that pairs a 3.5-liter V6 with an electric motor, making a combined 354 horsepower. While it's not as loud or dramatic as the V8, it still delivers impressive performance with a 0 to 60 miles per hour time of 4.7 seconds, all while being more fuel efficient. Step inside and you're greeted by one of the best interiors Lexus has ever made. Every inch of the cabin is wrapped in premium materials: leather, Alcantara, carbon fiber, and metal. The hand-stitched dashboard, beautifully sculpted seats, and driver-focused cockpit make it feel like a true luxury car. And because it's a Lexus, the build quality is flawless. Everything feels solid, perfectly fitted, and designed to last a lifetime. Technology-wise, the LC comes with a 10-inch infotainment screen, a high-end Mark Levinson sound system, and an advanced suite of driver assistance features. The only complaint? the touchpad-based infotainment system, which can be a bit frustrating to use. But honestly, when you're behind the wheel of a car like this, who needs a touchscreen when you've got a naturally aspirated V8 screaming to redline? Now let's talk pricing. The Lexus LC 500 starts at around $98,000, while the hybrid LC 500h comes in at a slightly higher price. Sure, it's expensive, but when you compare it to other luxury Grand Tours from brands like Aston Martin and Mercedes-AMG, the LC feels like an absolute bargain. It delivers supercar-level styling, thrilling performance, and Lexus reliability, all in one package. So why do gearheads love the Lexus LC? Because it's proof that Lexus can build an emotional, exciting, and truly special performance car. It's a modern classic, one of those rare cars that looks just as good today as it will in 30 years. Whether you're carving up a mountain road, cruising on the highway, or just admiring it in your garage, the LC is an experience like no other. And that wraps up our list of 15 Japanese sports cars that gearheads absolutely love. Which one was your favorite? Let us know in the comments. And if you think we missed a hidden gem, drop it below. We always love hearing from true car enthusiasts. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss our deep dives into the world of high-performance machines. See you in the next one.